Hello folks, welcome back to Reality Check with Arvind Swaminathan. Now this you can take as part 2 of the one we did earlier on the Islamization of India. There's one very important point we forgot to mention because there wasn't enough time. We were already going too long. Along with all the other laws which Nehru had passed, just to ensure that we would never be a Hindu nation, and having done everything to make us believe, he wanted an Islamic or Christian country, not a Hindu one. There's one other very, very big step he took, which a lot of us are not really aware of. You know, about 10-15 years ago, there used to be a joke. People would say, it's like saying everybody south of Nagpur is a Madrasi. Now, it is not a joke, because once upon a time, not so very long ago, it was a fact. Why? South of Nagpur was all Madras state, or Madras presidency. There was no Andhra, there was no Karnataka, there was no Tamil Nadu, and there was no Kerala. It was all Madras state, or Madras presidency. In the same way, there was no Gujarat. There was a Saurashtra, and the rest of Gujarat was part of Maharashtra. Oh, sorry, not Maharashtra, part of Bombay state, or Bombay presidency. Now, what did Nehru do? At independence, remember, there were only 15 provinces, or provincial setups, which meant 15 sets of politicians, 15 centers of state government. And our friend Nehru, what did he do? He proceeded to divide India on the basis of language. Now 15 states became around 25 or 28, all based on language. Having done that, he still tries to tell us that we must have a national language? How? He'd already knocked that on the head the moment he divided India on a linguistic basis. Which state is going to agree to Hindi or any other language being forced on him as a national language? Nobody. In fact, as far back as 1974, Indira Gandhi told people in Tamil Nadu, you have to learn Hindi. And the strange thing is, my cousin, for instance, was learning Hindi in school and Tamil outside, privately. The day Indira Gandhi came out with this statement that you have to learn Hindi, there were riots, a few buses were burned. The next time my cousin went back to school, he was told, as of now, you're learning Tamil in school, you want to learn Hindi, do it outside, privately. You see, people were already learning Hindi. The moment you say, you have to do this, forget it, it's not going to happen. And having divided everybody in this country on the basis of language, he ensured one or two other problems which will never go away. He ensured that the whole of India would be a fragmented country, never one nation. Each one wanting his own language and his own culture. And second, every one of those states would be fighting one another for supremacy, which is bound to happen. What was wrong with leaving it as 15 provincial states? Nothing. Now, instead of 15 centers of politicians, we have ended up with about 34 or 35 of them. Each one a proper center for total corruption. Let's face it, politician means corruption and political Maharaja families. There's no getting away from that. I mean, the day Indira Gandhi de-recognized all the princes and, the Maharajas and so on, they were replaced by political Maharaja families. And there are not many states we don't have them. 3 or 4 maybe. Now, having got all this, the political and the legislative part to convert India into either a Christian or an Islamic country. Now we find that Muslims in particular, having got to a certain level as regards percentage of our population, they're really beginning to step up the pace. You'll find them everywhere. Not only do they produce more and more kids, larger and larger families, but they also import a lot of illegal migrants from countries like Bangladesh. Now, I've said in a few earlier videos, for instance, the Talibanization of Afghanistan, that all these Muslim refugees never go to another Islamic country, and no Islamic country comes forward to receive them. They look, you're Muslim, we look after you. No. They all go to Western Europe, Canada, USA, or they come to India. Because they have their own agenda to spread Islam. Now, the Iranian pattern of a few centuries ago, a few Muslims were allowed into Iran, which had its own religion, the Zoroastrian faith, Parsis. The result, within 30 years, every Parsi was either driven out of Iran, or Persia as it was then. He was either driven out of Iran or Persia, or forcefully converted to Islam, or murdered or slaughtered. There's no other way. Because whether it's Christianity, whether it's Islam, or whether it's Judaism, there's no tolerance for any other religion. It is my way or the highway. There is no third alternative. Now, Hinduism is truly democratic. You can worship whichever god or goddess you want. You can create your own if you like. Because whatever you create is also a part of God. That is something which people don't understand. Your freedom, which you get under Hinduism, you don't get anywhere else. Now, you see, in Harvard, there was a study done. They found that once Muslims begin to get up to around 14-15% of the population, they begin to make huge demands. They started, in effect, in India. The hijab controversy, halal and halal certification controversy. Why do we need it here? Plus, mass conversions and a whole lot of other things. What are they? For instance, love jihad. Now, they wine and dine non-Muslim girls and women, get into a relationship, maybe get them in the family way. Now, if a marriage takes place, he gets even more money from the Waqf board or masjid or madrasa or whatever it is. I think there were certain fixed rates depending on which caste the girl is from. A Gujarati Brahmin meant he would get 5.5 lakhs. A Tamilian Brahmin, the boy would get something like 4.5 lakhs. And so on. There are grades and there are specific amounts of money involved. But there is one thing. Seldom, if ever, are those marriages registered. Now this is a ploy, so that if he gets fed up or once he's had one, maybe two children, he throws her out and goes for another one. You see what I mean? How many girls in India, non-Muslim girls of course, realize that unless the marriage is registered, it doesn't count. As far as the law is concerned, you're not married, you're just his mistress or his keep. And now they take full advantage of this. They have their way, they have their fun, and then throw her out or just walk out on her. Yes, there are laws that live-in relationships are entitled to a whole lot of alimony or what have you. But are they ever observed? No. So, quite apart from love jihad, this is another way. And you can't stop them until every girl is well tutored in what her rights are, including registered marriages, births, deaths, everything else. Such things must be taught in schools, but of course they're not, as far as I know. And there are a whole lot of other ways. Land grab, for instance. The Waqf Act means they can put their hand on any piece of property and say, and this belongs to the Waqf board. It does. They don't need to have any evidence or paperwork. Even though you have paperwork, they don't, but it belongs to them. This is the law. There are other ways also. For instance, Bangladesh has come across the border into West Bengal and then Bihar. They go for tribal girls, SC/ST girls, marry them, and then take over their property, especially their land. Now, once they become landowners, for all practical purposes, they're also citizens. Why? By marriage. Now, this was followed in Kashmir. A person who married a Kashmiri girl, even though he's from Pakistan, he could apply for Kashmiri citizenship. Similarly here. No wonder there was such a hue and cry when the CAA and NRC came into force, because none of these would qualify as Indian citizens. So they say, it's anti-Muslim. It's not anti-Muslim, it's anti-illegal migrants. Now we already have a population problem. Do we need 70 or 80 million Bangladeshis in this country, making it worse? As it is, Muslims unfortunately haven't understood that you cannot afford to have so many children. Smaller and smaller families are the norm, or should be the norm. If you don't understand that, what are you doing here? Now, such examples, I personally have come across quite a few. For instance, there's a man whom I've known for 25 years, comes into my house, does his azan, and then starts berating me. You're telling me that I'm a kafir. Why? I bow to idols and so on. I said, yes, that's my business. Who the hell are you to tell me? And I had to ask him to leave. Needless to say, we don't speak anymore. What else? Land grab. Thanks to the Waqf board, even the Somnath temple, or the land on which it stands, has been claimed by the Waqf board in Gujarat. They actually took the temple trust to court, and the court threw it out. How dare you do that? I mean, this land, this temple has been on that land long before Islam even came into being. There's another one again in Gujarat. I think it's Bet Dwarka, the area which was the living quarters of Lord Krishna. This has been claimed. How? There are a group of islands there, quite close to the mainland, but far enough out that you can only go there by boat. It is basically occupied and lived on by Hindus. A lot of them were fishermen. Muslim fishermen started coming in, asked for permission, and the Hindus gave them that permission, okay, to stay and start fishing. A few came, more came, until they got to about 10 or 15%. And again, then they started these silly things. They would sell their catch at a much lower price than the Hindus could afford. They didn't want to make money, they just wanted to undercut Hindu businesses. So eventually they went out of business. Even more Muslims came in, settled there. In time, Hindus, to get to work, had to go by using their boats. Muslims going across to the mainland would be charged 8 rupees. A Hindu would be charged anything up to 200 rupees for the same trip. They couldn't afford it. They left the islands. Now, the Muslim community and the Waqf board is claiming all those islands as if it was theirs. And again, the local municipal authorities have intervened. They said, no way, nothing doing. You do not own these islands and you're not getting them. Now, this is the story there. Bangladesh or Bangladeshis into West Bengal and Bihar. Same thing. Except the Bihar government has not taken any such stand so far. To them it's just a blind eye. It hasn't happened. Another way is, well, almost every day at certain times of the year, busloads of tourists leave West Bengal. They may go to Jammu and Kashmir, Gujarat, Haryana, a lot come to Delhi, many go to UP, quite a few go to Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra. Now they go back chock-a-block full, bursting at the seams. They come back empty. What happened to the people? Where were they dispersed? Who is helping them? Who is helping them disappear into India? Now you look at Delhi, for instance. It's almost become a Muslim state. I mean, Shaheen Bagh, for instance, is a Bangladeshi colony in Delhi, in the heart of Delhi. Northeastern Delhi is full of Bangladeshis and Rohingyas. So is Jahangirpuri. So are the spaces under the flyovers around Dholakwan. There's also a huge Bangladeshi colony on the other side of the river, between Noida and UP, on that border. Where do they come from? Who is housing them? And they're being fed on ration. They get free electricity, free water, free ration from our tax money. Why? Why are they being accommodated here? I mean, this is vote bank politics. We don't need such people here. When is the government going to get its act together and send them back? Now you begin to understand why we have to have a uniform civil code. And without that, I'm afraid we're going to be an Islamic country or a Christian country. There's no other way out. What else can we do? Now this new Congress government in Karnataka, it has made it very clear that the Congress party is a front for the Muslim League. Years ago, I'm talking about the 60s and 70s and possibly 80s, the CIA had a front organization called the Ford Foundation. It was known. There is no two ways about it. Similarly, now you have the Muslim League with the Congress as its front. The Congress Party and the Muslim League are conjoined twins, like Siamese twins. The one masquerading as a Hindu party, which it isn't, all in the name of secularism. And of course, Muslims can get away with murder. Hindus get blamed for something they've never even done. But not Muslims. Oh no. This is called secularism, according to the Congress. There's so many of these anomalies, so many stupid acts built into the Constitution itself. Much of it because I don't know anything about Hinduism. It was never taught by my parents. It was never taught in schools, in colleges, universities. In fact, having gone to schools in India, I know more about Christianity than about anything else. Why? They were mission schools. You had Bible classes. And I would sit there and listen. Some of it is still there. I mean, It doesn't make sense, does it? In a Hindu country, Hindu dominant country, 80% of the population being Hindus, and we are not allowed to learn about our own religion. This is Mr. Nehru, the so-called great man. A man who presented himself with a Bharat Ratna shortly after the Chinese disaster of 1962, when the whole of Aksai Chin was taken over, and a whole lot of those border areas and Ladakh and Leh were taken over, and he calls himself a great man and gives himself a Bharat Ratna. Does that make sense? Is this the sign of greatness? I mean, the mind boggles. It's ridiculous. When are we going to wake up and understand, look, we are in direct, immediate and imminent danger of being taken over again. And one of the things we have to do is remove that portrait of Mahatma Gandhi from all our currency notes. Why? It is designed to make us all peaceful and quiet, and turn the other cheek even to the point of being killed, and still we mustn't do anything. This tradition or trait goes back to the days of Ashoka, the day he adopted Buddhism. Since then, we've lost our fighting spirit. And it's about time something was done to give it back and bring it back, instill it among us. I mean, this putting of Mahatma Gandhi on currency notes was in a very subtle manner to ensure that we remain quiet and peaceful, no matter what the government stomps and rams down our throats. And we have been very quiet. We're too busy with a whole lot of mundane things like the price of petrol or diesel, or the price of tomatoes and potatoes, or the price of milk. That we understand. Oh, go up in arms over those. But not on serious issues. Let's face it, our basic existence is being threatened. And if we don't wake up, we're going under. There's no two ways about that. Well, folks, I think let this sink in. See this with the previous one. And understand that we're being driven towards being an Islamic or a Christian nation. The latest example, I mentioned it, I should have enlarged on it. Karnataka election, what is the first thing he does? He brings back the 4% quota for Muslims, and there's something called an anti-conversion law which the BJP government had brought in to stop forceful conversions, inducements, or conversions via inducements, threats, coercion, any other way. And they repeal that law. Now Muslims are free to do what they like to make people convert. Christians too. And they're getting even more blatantly anti-Hindu. I mean, you go to states like Tamil Nadu or Kerala, it's not just Islamic, but also Christianity. Both of them are giving Hindus a very rough time. Anything to stop it? No. Why? Now it's time the central government got its act together. There are many things they have to do. We'll discuss that in the next video. Basically, it's this. Many of these things, they keep saying the states must accept, the states must accept. No. The center has to decide, and the states have no alternative, they have to accept. That's part of being India. And if they try and secede, come down on them like 10 tons of bricks from a horrible great height. Stomp on them. You may not secede, like it or not. And it's about time the central government got its act together. Thank you, folks. Next time we'll discuss what this government at the center must do, and do it quickly, because we need a lot of action. Thanks, folks. Bye.